You're getting a lot of information. So let's get started. We're gonna we're gonna talk about managing your stress, especially in the as we're going through the aftermath of COVID, the pandemic. Particularly going to be talking about managing your stress from social isolation, and even what you can do and try to do as far as being leaders, if there's any managers out there, and for individual employees to kind of help make that transition a lot easier. So this first video is just going to talk a little bit about managing return to work anxiety. And it's about 4 minutes long.
The COVID 19 pandemic situation has abruptly and significantly impacted how we operate in all areas of our life. When we resume normal duties like returning to work, especially in a COVID situation, and trying to incorporate ways to stay safe, like using masks every day, distancing, washing our hands, and then sanitizing more frequently, all of those are significant changes that can increase our anxiety.
So many people don't know this, but anxiety is contagious, just like the coronavirus is. If you're sitting next to somebody who's anxious, you may start unconsciously taking on some of the physical symptoms of anxiety. You may start feeling your heartbeat a little faster or your breath coming a little faster. You may start to sweat, and you may not even realize why. So what can you do to limit the spread of anxiety in the workplace? One of the things is to take stock of your own physical symptoms. If you're feeling anxious, take a minute, center yourself, slow your breathing, practice mindfulness. That will help others around you also to unconsciously relax. And also be careful about not engaging others in their worries on an ongoing basis. It's okay to talk to a colleague occasionally about their worries, but if that's the primary topic of conversation, that leads to contagion.
Sometimes anxiety can actually be helpful. It can motivate us to be more productive, more creative, more innovative. Normal anxiety also tends to be transient, manageable, and doesn't impair functioning. If you feel like your levels of anxiety are rising to an unmanageable level, then it may be helpful to talk to like your primary care physician, a school counselor, a therapist, or even a psychiatrist. Really, any medical professional you feel comfortable with.
There are many resources out there that can help you manage your anxiety on any given day. If you're having a bad day, if you're feeling overwhelmed in the moment, take a look for mindfulness resources and other things that can help you with the in-the-moment feeling that you're experiencing right now.
So one of the things that we're all experiencing and we don't even realize it is due to this pandemic, our world has changed. In a lot of cases, people would like to say they want things to go back to normal. There is no such thing as normal any longer. The normal that you had a few years ago is no longer the normal. We're always constantly changing. And due to the pandemic, it's starting to make us realize how much change happens. So one of the things, because of the fact that during the pandemic, we've been isolated from everyone, we have had experienced things that some people have never experienced before, as far as isolation, as far as the having people dying, loved ones, and so this can really make a serious impact on everyone. But you cannot go back, cannot be Dorothy as in the Wizard of Oz and click your heels and go back to home. But we're going to have to learn different ways to proceed on to what, the situations as they are. So we're in a battle. And I like to say, we're going to try to do is to win this war against social isolation and anxiety. One of the things that has happened as a part of this pandemic is the isolation. People get locked in. And the first few months, we was definitely locked in. And after we started opening up, we still was isolated because for the most part, we was work most of the time, most people was working from home. And they're not used to that. And then also some people are still at home 2 years later and fearful of going out. And so because of all of these different changes, the loneliness, the prospect of losing jobs because a lot of businesses closed, and some of the financial difficulties and the different things that's going on in this world, this is almost like I like to say sensory overload, and it does cause a mental health challenge. So we're going to talk about understanding the isolation, what it has had the impact, and what we can do individually and also as managers. We are social beings. Our brains was geared towards it. Some may be with small groups and some with large groups. But regardless, not too many people are able to survive just alone. So understanding social isolation, it can lead to a lot of different problems, mostly depression. Stress levels are increased because the body and the brain is not used to this, and it starts increasing cortisol levels, and it's because of the stress and the change that your body and mind and emotions are going through. Also, clinical diseases. If you think about it, as your immune system is getting lowered and everything else, you're more prone to other types of diseases and disorders. And then also, because of that, it also can lead to a lot of hospitalizations. When I used to work in a hospital, we would see a lot of people coming into the hospital, and most of the time they were lonely. I mean, especially a lot of elderly, and even people who were off by themselves. And most of the time, it was all geared towards the mental anxiety and stresses that they're going through. Changes, this pandemic has caused a lot of changes in our lives, especially with all the downsizing, what's going on in the world and social media, news media, the grief of having close ones dying, listening to people talking about people dying. It just puts you into a sensory overload. And these changes for some is very difficult to handle. And it affects some people on a small scale and some people on a very large scale. And sometimes when you find those who are on a large scale, they were having problems that they didn't recognize prior to and because of the pandemic and the shut-ins and what has caused some changes in our world has almost what I would like to refer to causing a perfect storm. A lot of the problems that has occurred, it is occurring to a lot of people, is anxiety, increase of anxiety, fear, panic. I mean, how many of you, just think about it, when you're going into the store, just think back. When you went to the store, first off, when you had everybody wearing a mask. I mean, I went to the grocery Walmart one time, and this woman, I thought she was going to knock down every item trying to get away because she may have felt that we was getting too close on the social distancing. She almost fell trying to get out the way. She's just really panicked. And we see how many of you now, just think about it, when you're going into an environment, you're wearing a mask, and then you kind of, should I wear a mask? Everybody else is not wearing a mask. What's going to happen? So you have to really take check to what's going on and how are you feeling and how's going on with you. And this is a mental health issue, and a lot of people may not recognize it. A lot of people are suffering from PTSD. PTSD does not only happen on the battlefield, it is happening in our world right now. And so we need to do something to go ahead and change that. But recognizing some of these symptoms, if you're having any of these, recognize that that you may be going through some problems right now, but it's okay. Recognizing is the first step. So as we're getting ready to return to work, especially after being shut in and working from home. And now we got to go into a new work environment. We all must be conscious of some of the new stressors that we are having. You may say you were stressed before, but now because of the pandemic and some of the situations and changes, you've got new stressors that you have your body's trying to go through. And that really is the fear of infections at the workplace. Now, I want to say that I've been in business for quite a few years, and I would go to different businesses initially doing chair massages on site, and it was just very, it was not, it was very common to go into a workplace and people are sick, but they may just do a little bit, but it's just kind of like you got the flu, why are you at work? But it didn't cause a lot of stress. But now, because of the pandemic, there's a lot more fear of infections at the workplace. We're just having more people becoming more afraid. And even if you think about it, if you think, oh, I'm not wearing a mask, I'm already vaccinated, but what is the other people going to think? Some people say, I don't really care, but then there's going to be the other people that you have to really worry about who may want to start an argument. I've had clients leave my office if I gave them the option. They just didn't feel, even though I followed every protocol, they didn't feel comfortable. I mean, they stopped at the door and they said, I can't come in. They made the appointment, but I can't come in. So you may get scared because now I'm missing out on something, and the world is moving, but I'm missing out on something, and so we just put ourselves into a merry-go-round of different situations, all because of the fear and the new stressors. But again, be aware of some of the things, the financial stressors of you've lost your job, or you've been out of work for several months. They had to lower your pay. Your office, had to downsize. Now you had a new job. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. But also mourning over lost ones. I mean, especially some people have lost family members, one after the other, and not able to grieve. Not in some cases, people weren't even able to see their family members at the time when people were able to visit. And even now, because of the political what's been going on, we've changed presidencies and the changes in the country because you have one president versus the other. So we've been having a lot of different things going on in our world, and that's just really added on to the stress. So what can we do to win this battle? So we're going to talk about some of the strategies that we could do in order to win. And the first thing is starts at the top. Leadership, managers now have to learn a different way of managing people. I know over the years, management styles has changed. Communication wasn't really a key thing that was being taught. Sometimes, some cases, it was just get the job done. But now, because it's pandemic, there's a lot more things that we have to consider, especially from the managerial position. And one of them we have to include is the mental health of our employees. So communication is really key. We must be able to communicate with our employees. And by allowing yourself to talk to your employees and making yourself available to your employees to come talk to you, key thing. Communication is two ways, the receiver and the person that's deliverer. And the roles change. So as managers, you must help your employees to feel comfortable to come talk to you. And you must feel comfortable to talk to them. Talk to them, not judge them, because they're going through a lot. And a lot of times people don't talk to their managers because they're afraid they're going to be judged. They're going to feel like they can't do the job. They feel like I'm too weak or something. It's always, you're gonna have all kinds of different scenarios running through your head. So managers, you must be able to allow your employees to come and talk to you, and also for you to be able to listen. Communication is a two-way street. Also, we have to be a little bit more flexible about the way we're talking about things, and they talk to our employees and talk about the stress. You know, set aside time, within the office and say, hey, we're gonna have a open door session. We're gonna just talk, you know, of course, set guidelines, but talk to your employees and see what will work as far as them being able to talk to you and talk to each other collectively. And also, there's going to be challenges that people are facing now that they haven't really faced before. We're talking about parents, especially if you have dual parents who are working and they have children, or the fact that you may have a single parent in your organization. They all of a sudden they had childcare, and the childcare center was closed because somebody got the COVID. So now the child is home or have nobody to watch, or even the babysitter. Now you're going to have to be able to understand some of the dilemmas and things that's going on for the employees, and make some allowances to where they could be able to say, I need to go home and take care of my child, or my husband is sick, and allow them to work from home, but have some kind of strategy, develop some kind of strategy and some kind of plans to help them, so they can be able to feel that you care. Be the model. Be the person that is not only saying, communicate, you can communicate to me, but communicate to your people. Also, you want them to practice healthy habits. You practice healthy habits too. People are watching. I was in the military and I was an officer. And I remember one particular story. The company commander he was sloppy. He even actually came into the office carrying his boots in hand. And my soldiers tried to, say, hey, well, the commander's doing that. I says, if you see me doing that, then maybe. And I was the platoon leader. And I says, that does not give you an excuse to do that. But I have to make sure that I model the type of professionalism and attitude that I want my soldiers to emulate from me. So as a leader, we have to be very careful about how we present ourselves so that our employees can look up to us. And if you're out there fussing and arguing and everything else and belittling other people, and you want your employees to see you like that, that's not, in my opinion, very good leadership style. But then your employees can do the same thing. And that's, you don't want that because it lessens productivity. So now what can you do? You, the employee. We're talking about the managers, and they're going to go ahead and start making some changes. But what can you do as an employee going ahead and minimize your stressors and helping your mental health? We're going to talk about one of the key things is self-care. We need to develop more strategies on self-care. And I talk to a lot of people. So what do you do for self-care? Oh, I do a mani and a pedi. There's more than self-care than a mani and a pedi. We talked about a few months ago about the self-care, and there was a really good presentation. And it talked about the different aspects of self-care. There's actually about 7. Not only you're taking care of your mental, your physical, your spiritual, you talk about your professional. There's so many different aspects of self-care that you should try to develop for yourself. One of the things that you want is very key is taking care of your body. An unhealthy body will make you more sick. It's going to make you more stressed, more filled with anxiety, everything. So don't We used to say in the military, mind over matter. Your mind don't mind, your body doesn't matter. It does matter because there's a mind and body connection. So get enough sleep. 4 hours of sleep is not going to help. A lot of times, some people say, well, I can work off of 4 hours of sleep. Just think about it. Are you going to work grumpy? Are you short tempered? Are you really, feeling very anxious? You didn't get enough sleep. And with our world has changed, remember a few years ago, before everybody had computers laptops, when you shut down at 5 o'clock or whenever the day was over, you shut down and you went home and you interact with your family. Now with laptops, people is able to log into their computers and do more work at home. No. And even more so when you're working at home, you're finding yourself working all hours, 8, 9, 10 o'clock. You got to get a project done. Manage your time during the working hours. You won't have to spend a lot of hours working after work. Get outside. There's a lot of trails in San Antonio, a lot of parks. Take a walk. Connect with nature. And then one of the other things is limit the screen time. Sorry. If you find yourself watching a lot of news obsessively, you have to find the next news report. News 4 hours later is no longer news. It's old news. So why do you watch the same thing over and over and over again? Okay. So unplug from social media. How is it making you feel? If you find you're getting angry and frustrated because what people are saying on social media, you're allowing yourself to get caught up into that stuff. Unplug. Say 2 hours a day, I'm going to unplug. Just set a plan. Relax, recharge. It's like a battery needs to be recharged, but so do you. Taking care of your mind. We're just so busy. We overbook ourselves. We got these new gadgets, these new phones. We got the watch. We go put all kinds of activities. We see a blank space on our calendar, and we feel we have to put something in there. It makes you feel like you're being unproductive. No, take time to relax. With a lot of the things that's been going on in our world, it is very easy to get into a lot of negative thoughts and beliefs and everything else. A lot of people in science and everything else is showing now more so than before that a lot of the negative thoughts that you are having, the impact that it has on your nervous system, and it makes changes to your body. Okay, I'm saying that again. Negative thoughts impact your nervous system. And because of that, it impacts your health. Now, here's the key. Thinking positive, you cannot think, the body and the mind cannot think positive and negative at the same time. One is going to shut down and allow the other. So knowing that, start thinking about more positive things that you could be doing, you could be thinking, you could be seeing. Sense of hope. Just kind of think about that. And we're going to do some positive affirmations later on. And these are some things you could do on yourself. So if no one's going to pat you on the back, that's okay. Pat yourself on the back. It's okay. Go in the mirror and say, well, job well done. Connect, connect, connect. Like I said earlier, we're social beings. And because of the pandemic and because of all other situations, we stopped. We lost this connectivity with other people. We have these new phones and these new gadgets, and we're just connecting with computers. But we're not connecting with others. We are social beings. We need to connect with others. But because of the pandemic, it kind of limits that. But you can make phone calls. You could do something for others. You know a family down the street who is sick or who's struggling, just do something. that will not only help you to connect with others, but that's going to also give you something to feel good about and give you a nice positive thought about it. And just say, call people up and just ask. When somebody asks you, I know a lot of times people say, well, why should I say anything? Nobody's going to listen. Being a listener. So yes, I'm listening. Let's talk. So now we get into the fun part. We're going to do some meditation, and I'm going to go ahead and include some positive affirmations. The meditation that I'm going to be doing is releasing emotions, particularly negative emotions. We go through this a lot where we hold on to different things. And so during this meditation, we're going to really release a lot of emotional, negative emotions. And then also we're going to follow with some positive affirmations. And I'm going to make the positive affirmation available so that you can go ahead and have this for later on. And you can use this daily. Okay. So let's get ready for our meditation. If you're at home right now, you can and say, family members, come right here and be with me. Let's meditate for about 10 minutes. Or you can say, I'm meditating for right now for 10 minutes. Please value my time and shut the door. And so I want you to turn off your phones. If you're sitting in a chair, I want you to be able to sit in a chair comfortably. Place your feet squarely on the floor. Do not cross your legs. You can place your hands gently in your lap. I want you to be able to sit up. If you're sitting in a chair, I want you to be able to sit up in your chair, put your back against the chair, and kind of put your chin up so that you can open up your airway. And if you feel comfortable enough, you can go ahead and close your eyes. Or if you want, you could, I like to make really nice videos, or you can watch the videos. So let's get started. Sometimes negative emotions can build up. Maybe you feel anxious or angry. Your mind begins to churn and your body tenses up. When you feel this way, it can be helpful to release these emotions, like a pressure valve letting out steam. So now close your eyes and just bring awareness to your breath. Inhale fully and exhale slowly and gently. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, feeling your body relaxing. Exhaling gently. Continue doing this throughout this practice. And notice how your chest rises and falls. Recognize any emotions that you are feeling right now. You don't have to do anything with them. Just recognize them. Simply be aware. Sometimes in life, we're experiencing so many different emotions that we're not aware of them. We don't take the time. And if you want, it's even helpful to name the emotion. Now, recognize, or is there any particular spot in your body where you feel this emotion? Maybe your stomach is all balled up, or your shoulders are tense, or maybe your chest feels tight. Instead of trying to push feelings away, allow them to pass through you. Imagine that your emotions are a tight ball. Let the ball begin to spread throughout your body. As the ball spreads, it begins to dissipate. As it does so, the emotions begin to melt away. You are breathing in peace and breathing out the negative emotions. With every inhale, you feel calm. With every exhale, you feel the negative emotions. It may help to imagine your feelings as a cloud. As you continue to breathe in and out, the cloud begins to disappear. Watch the clouds flow away, and with it, all the negative emotions. Now you are at rest, both body and mind. You think clearly, and your muscles are relaxed. Your emotions aren't controlling you anymore. Your mind is racing. Enjoy this feeling, peacefulness throughout your body. And as you are going through this feeling of peacefulness, being able to say and believe in affirmations will help even more. So we're going to go ahead and talk about different types of affirmations that help release all negativities from your life. You can recite it with me, or you can think about it, and I'm going to try to repeat them at least once. I am a positive person. I am a positive person. Being a positive person allows me to enjoy my life at a much higher level. Everything seems better when I am happy. Being a positive person allows me to enjoy my life at a much higher level. Everything seems better. I am happy. I can always find something positive about every person and situation I encounter. I can always find something positive about every person, every situation I when I have to deal with someone that challenges my positive feelings, I understand that this person has been sent to help me release my negativity. I am grateful for their time and their presence. Each person and situation that challenges me is a gift. Each person and situation that challenges me is a gift. Focusing on positive feelings helps me to release all negativities from my life. Focusing on positivity helps me to release all negativity from my life. My family and friends are a great source of positivity. I am able to quickly and effectively release any negativity in my relationship to keep the positive feeling going. Today, I choose to focus on the positive. I see the good in every situation I face and every person. So as we're closing on this meditation and affirmations, when you're ready, open your eyes and come back to where you left off. Feeling that you have made a change, feeling the change that's within you, radiating and glowing. You can open your eyes, wiggle your hands, come back to the present moment. So in conclusion, I was able to find a video, YouTube video that talked about the 7 tips of returning back to work. And it kind of summarizes some of the things that we talked about during this presentation. And it's about 4 minutes, almost 5.
No matter our age, our gender, our race, or our location, we have all been affected by the global coronavirus pandemic. From stay-at-home orders to experiencing changes in our work habits, to maybe even having to deal with illness, everyone has been impacted by COVID-19. Your employer is committed to not only keeping you safe physically, but also emotionally, and is providing this video to help you manage your mental health in a changed world. According to a recent KFF survey, 45% of all adults in the United States report that their mental health has been negatively impacted due to stress and worry over the virus. Forrester records that 41% of workers in the United States are afraid to go back to work. The following are some tips and recommendations we would like to offer in order to try and keep you from experiencing any stress or worries as we all return to the workplace. Tip number 1, take care of yourself. There are many helpful things you can do to try and cope with the negative mental effects of the pandemic. For example, getting sufficient rest at night, taking your full allowed breaks during work hours, eating healthy foods, engaging in physical activity, and staying in contact with family and friends can relieve stress and the feelings associated with it. Tip number 2, avoid unhelpful coping strategies. Many individuals may try to use tobacco, alcohol, or other drugs to cope with stress, depression, and anxiety caused by the pandemic. According to the World Health Organization, however, the use of such items could worsen your mental and physical well-being in the long run. Tip number 3, find support socially. Do not be afraid to turn to your colleagues, your manager, or other trusted individuals for support during this difficult time. Chances are that those people may be having similar experiences to yours and could also benefit from sharing their own feelings. Tip number 4, avoid spending too much time watching, reading, or listening to news about the pandemic. A lot of the information, speculation, and numerical data that is disseminated under the blanket of a news item can cause you to feel anxious or distressed. Limit your exposure to news, if possible, but do not cut it out completely. There could be important information that you will need at some point in time. Tip number 5, only accept important workplace information from trusted sources. Once individuals return to the workplace, you may encounter misinformation about the virus, workplace safety, and health precautions, or the financial state of your employer's business. It could become difficult for you to know what to believe in these situations. Remember, however, that it is the responsibility of your manager or HR representative to communicate with you any workplace information that you need to be aware of. Those sources should be trusted with communicating important business-related details. Tip number 6, be supportive to coworkers. Assisting others in their time of need can benefit both the person receiving support and the helper. Whether this is listening to concerns or helping a coworker remember how to complete a work-related task, the support you offer could truly help alleviate someone else's stress and anxiety. Tip number 7, share positive and hopeful stories and images. A lot of the information we receive during the coronavirus pandemic can stir negative emotions. This negativity can affect our stress and anxiety levels. That, in addition to being back at work and resuming business as usual, could be overwhelming for some. When you discover funny, uplifting, or heartwarming work-appropriate stories or images, be sure to share them with your coworkers. You never know how much they could positively affect others. As we return to work, remember that we are all in this together. By utilizing the tips shown in this video, hopefully, your stress and anxiety in the office will be minimized, and we can all continue to work as a team to move forward in the future. If you have any issues or concerns, please do not hesitate to speak with your supervisor or HR manager. Thanks for watching.
Well, that actually concludes my presentation. One of the things I wanted to go ahead and to say is that we're all going through this. We're all going through this battle. We're all on this battlefield. One of the things that if you find yourself overwhelmed with stress, with anxiety, and no matter what you try, you still see it mounting, talk to your co-workers, talk to your manager, especially if you feel it's affecting your work. And there's nothing wrong with seeking help. Sometimes people put a bad feeling, thought that they have to seek counseling. It is nothing wrong with seeking help to talk things out. And you realize that you're not the only person. And we all need help once, with somebody at some time or another. You can contact us if you have any questions about this presentation or any of our other services. And I also listed the resources here. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and provide the affirmations for you that will be as a handout. And if you like having the video as a part of this, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down if you don't. I'm not taking anything personally. But I do appreciate your time. And if you have any questions or anything like that, we can go ahead. And I know she's probably having a little bit of difficult time to stop the sharing. But if there's no questions or